Step 1, wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Riddle revealed. This unexpected figure secretly met Jungkook during military service. Netizens immediately go crazy. Hey, ARMY. His name is not just known, he is remembered. Loved. Missed. Jungkook, BTS's golden magne, is now walking the quietest path ever, the path of devotion. Military service. And even though his voice and face are absent from the stage, every beat of his life is still felt, in the hearts of fans. A silence that speaks. No concerts. No live broadcasts. Only vague snippets of news from behind tightly guarded barracks. Then, in the midst of that silence, news came. Unusual. Unnatural. A visitor. A mysterious figure. Not a famous figure. Not family. Not an official staff. And what made everything explode in cyberspace, this visit was unannounced. Not officially photographed. Not recorded. A trace in a world without light. It all started with a single post on a Korean online forum. Someone who claims to work near the training base shared the story. A person came to visit Jungkook. He came in silence, wearing a black hoodie and a mask, escorted by 2 officers. There was little evidence. Just a blurry photo from a distance. But it was enough to start a storm. ARMY immediately took action. The analysis began. His gait, height, even the shape of his shoulders were skinned by netizens. Theories ran wild. Jimin? Taeyong? Former manager? Old boyfriend? HYBE's secret envoy? Speculation after speculation danced between hope and fear. Tattoos that reveal memories. Until finally a tweet appeared. A photo from behind. And on the man's neck, a small tattoo. A familiar symbol. One that had been seen on an old friend of Jungkook's, long before he debuted. From there, the puzzle turned into an obsession. Who was he? Why did he appear now? Was there something he was hiding? Global trending and torturous silence. The hashtag Jungkook visitor immediately became a trending topic. The media dug in. The world's fandoms were shaken. But HYBE remained silent. The military? No comment. A world held its breath in deafening silence. The unexpected truth. 3 weeks passed. Until finally an answer emerged. A local journalist, secretly investigating. And the results left everyone speechless. The mysterious figure was no one in the celebrity world. He was a military trainer. A senior. Someone who once saved Jungkook during a tough training. When Jungkook was slightly injured and almost collapsed, he was the one who strengthened him. And now, as Jungkook moved to a tougher unit, he applied for leave. Not as a trainer, but as a brother in arms. Words that touched the world. When asked why he came, his answer was only one. Jungkook is strong, but even the strong need someone. And the world seemed to stop. This is not about celebrity. Not drama. Not sensation. This is about humanity. Conclusion: love unexposed by camera. The figure did not come to be news. Not for popularity. He came to accompany a young man who was struggling. A human being who happened to be a star. And perhaps that is the purest form of love. Come. Be silent. Accompany. What do you think, ARMY? Who did you think came to see Jungkook before? Does this story make you see him from a new perspective? Write your thoughts in the comments column. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and activate notifications so you don't miss other exclusive news. Only on Pop Update, a place where every story has its own pulse. More than a story, it's a mirror. This story touches on something deeper than just the entertainment world. It's about how even someone who is adored by millions around the world can still feel tired, vulnerable, and in need of support. And sometimes that support doesn't come from fellow idols, not from a major label, not from a camera. It comes from someone who sees them as people, not as stars. This story makes us wonder. How many artists hide their pain behind their stage smiles? How many vulnerable moments do we never know about? And how often do we forget that our idols need space to be human too? Jungkook, more than just a magne. To some, Jungkook is the golden magne. Perfect talent. melodic vocals, stunning looks. But to those who know him better, he's also a caring person, someone who doesn't like to put others through the ringer, who always tries harder than anyone else in the room. And in that silent moment, when all the stage lights went out, all that was left was Jungkook. A young man who smiled to calm fans, who cried silently when tired, and who now carries out his national duties while carrying the burden of global popularity. What does the presence of someone mean? Many ask, why is this news so shocking? Because it reminds us that the presence of someone can mean everything. Even if they just come, sit and say, I'm here. And maybe, in a moment like that, more than a fan project, more than a trending topic, what Jungkook needs is just one thing, a friend. Someone who doesn't demand, doesn't immortalize, doesn't report. Just present. Reflections for us all. Maybe we can't visit Jungkook, can't send support directly, but we can continue to support in the most sincere way. Giving space, giving time. And when he returns, we will welcome him not just as a star we admire, but as a man who has weathered the storm and returned with a stronger soul. The silence that shakes, the legacy of a moment. We're used to seeing idols perform on big stages, lit by spotlights, accompanied by the screams of thousands of voices. But not all of the big moments happen in front of a camera. There are moments like this, silent, without applause, without a mic, without a spotlight, that shake our hearts more than any concert. The moment when a friend, a coach, or even a stranger comes, not to see Jungkook as a star, but as someone struggling alone in silence. And this is what will be remembered. Not who he is, but why he came. ARMY, you're part of this story too. One thing that has always set BTS apart from many other artists is their relationship with their fans, ARMY. A relationship that's not just about support or popularity, but closeness, empathy, and even self-reflection. ARMY plays a role in this story. Not because you spread rumors, but because you, in every theory, comment, and concern, showed one important thing: you care. It is ARMY who never stops looking for news. It is ARMY who keeps waiting patiently. It is ARMY who, even when they don't know anything, still chooses to believe and pray. And maybe without realizing it, you are also silent visitors in Jungkook's heart. Always present, without having to be seen. When he returns, the world will be different. There will come a day when Jungkook wears civilian clothes again. When he steps in front of the camera, not as a soldier, but as an artist who has gone through a season of silence. But he will not return as the same person. He will bring this experience, the experience of being ordinary again, as a new strength. We don't know what songs he will sing after this. But one thing is for sure, his voice will be deeper, more honest, more alive. Because he has lived on the side of the world that is not colored by cheers but silence. Time that cannot be rewinded. The time spent in the military may seem long to some fans. No comebacks. No lives. No new fan cams to save in your gallery. But in that silence, many things grow. Many things that cannot be seen, but can be felt. Jungkook may not be performing in public, but he is writing his own personal history. A history that is not written with ink, but with perseverance. And when that time passes, we will all realize that waiting is not emptiness, but preparation. An unwritten letter from an admirer. Imagine if you could write one letter, just one, and give it to Jungkook today. What would you write? Maybe not about concerts or music. Maybe not about his accomplishments. But about you, an admirer who said, "You may be off the screen, but you're never out of my mind. And if the world feels lonely, remember that there are thousands of hearts that keep on shaking for you, even when not a single word is spoken." The meaning of waiting for ARMY. ARMY has long been accustomed to waiting. Waiting for new songs. Waiting for comebacks. Waiting for updates. But this time it's different. This time we're waiting not just as fans, but as distant friends who are holding back longing. And there's no one more loyal than someone who chooses to stay, even when they don't know when they'll see each other again. Waiting isn't a weakness. It's the quietest strength. And ARMY knows that when Jungkook returns, his smile will be warmer because he knows we're not leaving. When the music comes back, the time will come. When the first notes are heard again from Jungkook's vocals. When every word he sings feels like a love letter, not just to ARMY, but to himself who once walked far away, silently, and returned with a stronger soul. Maybe someday we'll hear a song about courage, about serenity, about someone who once felt alone, but found light in the simplest form, the presence of another human being. And when that happens, we'll know this story isn't just about who came to the military base, but about what that presence meant. Heartfelt conclusion. This story is not a big story on the front page of the media. There is no scandal, no controversial headlines. There is just a human being coming to meet another human being, to say, I am here. You are not alone. And in a world that passes too quickly, sometimes, that alone is enough to save someone.
Today's gonna be a good day. Wake up. Today's gonna be a good day. Wake up. Today's gonna be a good day. Wake up. Today's gonna be a good day.